Hello and welcome. My name is Kimberly Grymes and I am a self-published author. And this is From Ideas to Pages to Publishing, a podcast where I'll be documenting my writing and publishing progress and sharing tips and tricks of the trade that I've picked up from others in the publishing industry. When it comes to my personal author experience, you can expect me to share the good, the bad, my wins, and the days I sit in the corner all curled up and crying. It's all part of the growing process to become the best author I can be, and hopefully my experiences can help others. Before I jump in and give you a quick writing update, I want to remind listeners that From Ideas to Pages to Publishing now has a writing support group on Patreon. We meet once a month to cheer each other on as we work to reach our writing and author business goals. So if you're interested in a writing group focused on project accountability and motivation to keep moving forward on your writing and author business goals, then check out From Ideas to Pages to Publishing, the Patreon group. The group is meant to be a budget-friendly resource with low commitment and high results. All right, welcome to episode 15. This week, I'm going to be talking about expanding my podcast to include guest interviews. But first, let me give you a quick project update. Book 3 in my YA Dark Fantasy 3 Shades trilogy, titled Shades and Blood Oaths, is still with the line editor. I should be getting that back early next week. The Kickstarter, well, today is July 4th. Happy Independence Day, America. But it also means I'm 75 days away from the campaign launching. That means it's less than 3 months and getting closer to the 2-month mark. The 3 biggest things I need to do for this campaign right now are 1. Format the omnibus, but I can't do that until I get book 3 back from the proofreader, which is scheduled for late July. 2. Finish setting up the annotated layout for book 1, Shade of Light, and then add my author notes and comments. I'm only doing an annotated version of Shade of Light for the Kickstarter. And then the third thing I need to do is write that second short story and send it to the editor. I'm confident that all of these will be done and ready come September 1st, with time to spare before the launch on September 18th. Okay, the next project update is the Prairieland Romantasy. I'm making excellent progress with writing this story. I've written the first 2 chapters. And I've wrote out detailed summaries for the next 5 chapters. I recently purchased the Lifetime Plottr app, or software. It's on my laptop. Anywho, I created a template that follows my 17-scene story outline, which is an outline you can find in my 4-week story prep workbook. And then because I'm writing a romantasy, and the Plottr program already has pre-made template available that is called Romancing the Beats. It's based on the Romancing the Beats book created by Gwen Hayes. So I was able to combine these 2 templates into one, and then I save that as a new template. So I have this new template in Plottr that has 2 layers of story beats. One is for the fantasy layer, and the other is to make sure I hit those romance beats. After all that work, I have to say I really freaking love this new template I've created. And I plan on using it going forward with all of my romantasy stories when I outline. So, in addition to the 2 template beats, my 17 story scene beats for the fantasy and the romance beats, I've added a 3rd layer that lets me plan out when a chapter starts. So basically it's chapter 1, chapter 2. The 4th and 5th layers on the Plottr line, I don't know if you're familiar with Plottr. If you haven't, I would check it out. P.S. This is not a sponsor or affiliate. I've used it and I'm sharing my experience with you. Yes, so as I was saying, on the timeline, the next 4th and 5th layers are the chapter scenes. So if there's only one scene in the chapter, I'll just write a summary in that 4th layer primary scene. Sometimes I'll have a scene break and I'll cut to another scene. And so that second scene, I'll kind of write a summary there. And then the next few lines on the timeline, I'll write out what the main fantasy element is and then what the main romance note is. And yes, I could probably write notes directly in the template. It's really, I'm hoping you can visualize this. Plottr is so great. Anyways, it's a really great resource for people who like to visually see their story plotted out in like a timeline format. It's very similar to Scrivener's corkboard page, but this is more of a very simplified timeline. And you could add more layers, and that's what I'm talking about in regards to the layers. I will include a screenshot of kind of what I'm talking about in the show notes on my Patreon page and on my Substack page. So if you're listening on an outside platform like Spotify and you want to see what I'm talking about, go visit my Substack page and look up under the podcast. You can see a visual of the Plottr screenshot that I'm talking about. So I'm making excellent progress with the setup on this Plottr for my Prairie Land Romantasy. Remember, I'm not sponsoring Plottr, I'm just sharing my experiences. Moving on to the next project, the Secret Author Collab project. I'm so happy with how the outlining and plotting is going with the Prairie Land Romantasy that I'm going to take my outline for this collab romantasy story and enter everything into Plottr. So that is the goal for the upcoming week. I need to catch up on other authors in the group. They've already written probably between 10 and 15,000 words, and I'm kind of in the 3,000 range. But that's okay. I know my process for writing chapter 1 takes me a bit longer to figure out how the story starts out. Once I have the first few chapters where I want the story to go, then the writing process for me gets faster. Plus, I tend to work better when I'm on a hard deadline. The chapter 1 I had written for this author collab story, I realized it was too slow. So a new opening scene had come to me one night and I scribbled down that idea, which ultimately led me to write a summary for the next 2 chapters. So for me, having the story progress like that was a big sign that this is exactly how I need my story to start. Now I just have to go and write it. Okay, that's all for my writing projects. Now let's jump into this episode's author experience topic for this week. Though it's not really an experience, it's more about an idea I've been playing around with for a few weeks. I would love to expand this podcast to include interviews and chats with other book-loving people. Yes, I didn't isolate to interviews with authors only, because I think it would be fun to talk to all kinds of people in the book world. Yes, authors, but also book influencers, professionals, and those who do this for fun, bookstagrammers, booktubers, book talkers, but also small press publishing people, maybe even some literary agents, I don't know. But I don't want to limit it just to authors. And yes, I want to talk with them about whatever area they're representing or specializing in, but I also want to stay focused on the point of this show, to share our experiences, either something that's recently happened or something that has significantly impacted their journey. The episodes will still remain under 20 minutes, so these will be quick chats, meaning I won't be doing any of my project updates during the episodes with guest interviews. We'll be jumping right in and chatting with the guest. And if they have a book or a project that's launching soon, we'll focus on sharing their upcoming wins. So how does this work and when does it start? Good question. Well, I'm not exactly sure. Things I do know, I'll be adding the podcast episodes, all of the episodes, to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm not sure if the interviews will be video or just audio yet. That's still something I need to decide. I have to set up a way to schedule guests, and I'm thinking I'm going to use Calendly or Google Appointments. I don't know yet. Then I have to start spreading the news to see if anyone is even interested in chatting with me. Also, right now, I really only have time to do 1 or maybe 2 interviews a week, or maybe I can schedule like 4 or 5 chats in 1 week and then post them over the next month, 1 episode a week. I think I really like that second option. That way I can get all the interviews done in 1 week and then edit and then schedule them to post later over the month. I always enjoy talking with people and helping them get visibility on their projects and me learning from them and maybe them learning from me. And it's just a constant growth in our industry because we learn from each other. I've always said that when I talk to other authors about how there is no schooling or there is no class that we can all attend and get degrees, especially for indie authors. This is something we all learn through experience and word of mouth and talking to each other at events and in writing groups. And we ask each other what their opinions are, and so it's all through passing knowledge. And I'm kind of hoping that I can help that with doing some guest interviews. Again, there'll be short interviews with engaging guests and content for people to listen to, say, while driving to the grocery store to work. Longer interviews aren't a bad thing, and they have a lot of content and information, and listeners really enjoy listening to interviews that are engaging. But for me, I like to keep things short, fun, and to the point. Not only just because I prefer short podcast episodes, but also it helps save me time during my busy week. So it's more for me and my workload and my sanity. Don't get me wrong, I could sit there and talk for hours, but then I won't get any work done. Okay, so that's basically it for this week's author experience or author idea and what I've been pondering over the past week. I'm really excited for this new chapter for the podcast, and I will keep you posted. Don't forget, if you want to listen to these episodes a week early, you can join my Patreon from Ideas to Pages to Publishing, where you also get monthly cheer meetings to talk about your writing projects and goals. That's all for episode 15. I'll be back next week with more updates and more experiences to share. Until next time, thank you for listening to From Ideas to Pages to Publishing with me, Kimberly Grymes. For more information about me, my books, and my author shop, visit kimberlygrymes.com/links.